The conversation around end-of-life planning can be a difficult one to have, but it's also necessary. Here to help with some tips on how to make sure you and your loved ones are financially prepared for the future is Gregg George, Crescent Grove Advisors Managing Director and Senior Client Advisor. Gregg, like we said, this is a difficult topic, but it's also an important one. At what age and under what circumstances should someone begin this process?
First off, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure being here. I do believe probably in their early 30s, when one's starting a family of their own, maybe the prospect of marriage or children on the horizon. I really do think one needs to plan for, the event, if you will. While still young, and presumably with a long life expectancy, things happen, and unfortunately bad things can happen. So to have things lined up the way one would wish, have it documented appropriately, and be very organized in the process will simply make things a little bit easier on the back end for those who survive you.
And Gregg, is there a first step of sorts that people should make when beginning this type of planning, or even just preparing for this type of planning?
Yes, I think taking an inventory of where you currently stand, economically, financially speaking, certainly turn to your company's plans and their benefits. A lot of wealth is embedded in those. But of equal importance, sitting down and thinking, when I'm no longer here, what do I want this to look like? Because there are vehicles that exist that allow one to, for lack of a better term, rule from the grave. Not in a heavy-handed sense, but more in a sense of these are assets that you've built over time, you've worked to accumulate, and you have the right to dictate how things play out once you've passed away.
And what if you're a family member wanting to help here? Is there something you should be doing differently than the individual?
From the standpoint of looking at things, I think it's important to sit down and determine who's on the team. And the team is broad. It needs to consist of not only financial professionals like myself who have an overarching view of one's particular situation, but a professional in the estate planning field, and then pull in those people who've been along with you for the journey, whether it's a brother, a sister, a college friend who's remained a lifelong friend, and pull that team together and get everyone on the same page as to, hey, look, here's where we are at a snapshot in time. Here's what we're trying to achieve. I appreciate everyone's willingness to help in this process, and let's get an end result. And to use the term end result isn't exactly accurate, because this is a process. What you're thinking about when you're 45 is much different than what you're thinking about when you're 55, 65, et cetera. And the other thing you have the benefit of is time. You've seen those children who maybe when you executed your first set of plans, they were 5 and 6 years old, and now they're 15 and 16 and so on. So while the plans are good until changed, I think it's important to periodically revisit them with the team.
And another topic that we often discuss on this show is the great wealth transfer. If you're young and you come into money, are there certain steps that you should be taking in order to protect some of those assets?
Yes, absolutely. Depending upon how you come into that money, certainly if it's clearly from inheritance or another means, you want to sit there and ask yourself, first and foremost, am I taken care of during what I expect to be a full life expectancy? Once you answer that question in the affirmative, you get back to, okay, what would I like to achieve with this money? What are my goals? And you walk through that process and you determine who you want to benefit from this. It's not a windfall because oftentimes it's earned, but who you want to benefit long term from this. And along those lines, you can certainly have people benefit at your passing, or there's always meaningful leverage associated with gifting while you're still alive. And one of the ancillary benefits of doing that is you as an individual get to sit there and witness the impact that it's having on those who have received the generous gift that you may have made.
Gregg George, Crescent Grove Advisors, Managing Director and Senior Client Advisor. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.